What's going on, guys? One of the most common questions I see come up in the forums and groups is, and this is especially for new riders or new owners, I should say, is how people are tracking their skis. Especially if you're leaving it down at a marina in the dry storage or anything. Basically, how are you tracking your ski? You're using air tags, GPS trackers, or whatever. And there's been a lot of products on the market for a while. I actually have air tags on all of my skis. My skis have actually been stolen in the past.
Back into a house in Kansas.
And I was able to recover them using air tags. The downside with air tags, obviously, is that they are not meant to be devices. They're not meant for asset protection. They're not meant for recovering stolen items. And you could tell because, if you're moving with an air tag, it'll say you're moving with it. So if someone steals your ski, it basically lets you know, or lets them know, that they're being tracked. And the other downside is that it's not GPS based. It's using long-range Bluetooth, low-energy Bluetooth. So it's really relying on a Find My network, which relies on other people with an iPhone. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere and someone with an Android phone steals your skis, there's a very good chance you're not going to be able to track them. So that's kind of the weakness I'm trying to take care of today. And that's where I stumbled upon this guy, SizzApp. If you've been on any Facebook groups or anything, you probably see these pop up. There's a lot of ads with them recently. And the thing that really sticks out with this for me is that it is a cellular-based GPS tracker, and there's no monthly fees. Now that's huge because if you've done any searching on GPS trackers or cell-based ones in the past, you know that they charge you for the device. But of course, there's also a subscription charge for that cell plan in addition. And this does not have that. So this is basically just a one-time payment tracker. You pay for the device and you get a basically unlimited cellular-based connection. Doesn't matter, it does not rely on any other devices. So you could basically install this tracker, bring it out into the middle of the desert. I mean, granted, as long as you have a cell connection out there, and you'll be able to get status updates on your ski. And the cool thing about this is that it not only is a GPS tracker, but it gives you additional features as well, like battery metrics. It'll give you theft notification as well. So if the ski moves outside of like a certain spot, it'll let you know. And a few other things. I'm going to pull it up on the website in a second so I can show you. But I really think that this answers a lot of questions for people or issues that they have with various different types of trackers, including air tags. So I'm going to be installing this on my ski today. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and give you some more information on the website just so you know what we're getting here. And also in this video, I know people are going to be concerned because this does tap into your ski's power. So it's going to tap into the battery that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a parasitic drain test. And that's essentially just going to put this in line with the battery in the ski, and we'll see how much current this thing draws. It should be fairly low, but I just want to have that metric out there for anybody that's curious. All right, so I'm not going to break down the features too much just because a majority of you guys are mainly just going to be using this for GPS tracking and possibly some battery information. But just quickly, I mean, you could see they break down the features into categories here. For trips and GPS, you get route planning, speed recording. So if you want to try to get an accurate speed representation, like your top speed test, not relying on the inaccurate cluster, you can do that with this. It'll give you device metrics, how many times you stop in a specific area. You can put geofences. Security, we have the guarded mode, device disconnection. So if the device gets disconnected from power, it'll let you know something's going on. There's even a SOS button. This won't be too critical, but in the app, you can put an SOS alert out and you can determine, or you can specify who that will alert if you have other riders in your group with these devices. Same thing, friends and sharing. And then you can also do route planning with weather as well. So it'll let you know if it thinks that the route you're planning on taking is going to interfere with any kind of weather events. And the last thing I want to point out here is the 3 different device types. really the two. So we have the Max and then we have the OBD. So if you guys are interested in doing this yourself, obviously I'll put the link in the description, but if you plan on buying it outside the link, you just want to keep this in mind because there is the Max, which is the one that we have, and then the OBD. The OBD is only going to be meant for vehicles where you have an OBD connection. Obviously the SeaDoos do not, so we are going to be using the Max, and this just ties directly into the battery like you see there. And I'll show you the device in a second, but I just want to point that out just so if you guys do end up buying this, you don't buy the wrong one. All right, so here's the device itself. You can see it's very simple. On the back we have a sticky pad so you can mount this anywhere in your hole. We have a decent wire lead size. I believe this is around 3 feet, but I will double check that. And of course we have our battery connections, positive and negative. So getting this all wired in is going to be pretty simple. We'll go ahead and do that. And I'm also going to be doing the activation process. I'll do that on here as well, just in case there's anything that comes up that you guys may need to know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this all connected. We'll check it out in the app. And then at the end, once everything's good to go, I'm going to go ahead and do our parasitic drain test, just so we can see what the amperage draw is when the device is just connected and working. And then we can get kind of an accurate representation for how long you can let this thing sit connected inside your ski, until the battery dies. So just before we get to that, there are GPS trackers that you just charge them up with like a micro USB, and they're good for 6 months. So I imagine this is probably not going to take too much power, but still, that's a metric I want to have available for you guys. So let's go ahead, we'll go up to the battery, find out where we want to mount this guy, and we'll get it installed. All right, so the first thing we need to do is figure out where we want to physically mount the box. So I just took a quick look around here. I don't want to really directly expose it to engine heat. It can withstand it, but I want to try to protect it. So I think what I'm going to do is mount it here, but on the inside. So I'm just going to reach up and flush mount it on this spot. There's nothing here. There's plenty of room for it to basically kind of be out of the way of everything. Plus we have direct access to the battery. So that's going to be the cleanest install, I believe. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to clean the backside here because you see there's just a lot of fiberglass dust. So I'm going to clean that up, and then we'll get the box mounted directly on the backside. All right, so I have it mounted up there. It's on there pretty tight. I just gave this a good tug, shifted things around, make sure it's not just going to fall off, and it's on there pretty solid. So physically mounted, now we just need to go ahead and get our battery connections attached. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. All right, we have our battery leads on. So the device is powered up right now. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and set up our app. I already have the app downloaded. I just need to create an account now. And I'm not gonna show the account creation just because there is a IMEI number, and if anybody has that number, they can take my account. So I'm gonna go ahead and create an account to get signed in, and then I'll show you what we need to do next. All right, the app is set up. You can see that it's reporting offline. Now this is a global device. It works in like 55 countries, I believe. So it may take some time for the SIM card to activate. So I'm just gonna let this go for a little bit until this comes back up, and then we'll pick up from there. All right, guys. So as you can see, it is now online, and it has the address. It's still trying to get more information. As you can see, the battery information is incorrect. The temperature is correct, but it's in Celsius, so I need to find a way to change that to Fahrenheit. But you can quickly see some of the features we have here. We have the battery history, and again, a lot of this is just not calibrated yet. The instructions for setup say that you're supposed to connect it and kind of drive around and just let it kind of familiarize and adapt and things like that. So I'll have to do that in a little while, but either way, if I'm just going to let it sit overnight, it will start to update everything. This red toggle here, that's the guarded mode. So now it will notify me if the ski moves. In my case, it's going to be in the garage until spring, summer, so I'm not too concerned. But either way, I'm going to keep that on just because we're going to do the parasitic drain test here in a second just to see how much this does take in standby voltage, or amperage, I should say. And then just so you know, there is apparently there's a small battery in this thing. I think it's like 300 milliamps or so, milliamp hours. So if you lose battery power to your ski, you'll still be able to track the unit for up to 3 days or so. Which I guess is also kind of important because if someone steals your ski and they pull the battery or whatever, hoping to kill off any kind of trackers, it's not going to matter for this device. So we are good to go on the app. I'm going to let that kind of run over the next few days. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and do a parasitic drain test on the tracker, and we'll see how much it takes to run it. All right, so I do have a video on how to do a parasitic drain test, but essentially all we are going to do is disconnect one of the leads for the tracker. It could be the negative or positive side, it does not matter. We're going to clamp one side of our multimeter probe to the lead going to the tracker, and the other lead is going to be connected to the post on the battery that we've removed it from. So we're essentially wiring it in series. We are not going to connect it in parallel like you normally would for checking voltage or anything, because that's only going to be for checking voltage. In order to check how much current is passing through, we need to put it in amperage, which is in series, so that we can measure how many amps are pulling through the circuit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to disconnect one of the leads going to the tracker. We'll put this in line. I do have some alligator clips here that's going to help. And you just have, I just stick the meter probes through this. That way I can clamp it onto the battery and then put the other side onto the lead, and we'll see what happens. Actually, before I disconnect it, I want to show you, you will get a notification on here if you disconnect the battery. So let me just disconnect this. I just pulled the lead, and we'll see here in a second, we'll get a notification that the system was disconnected. There you go. RXT-X disconnect from battery. So if you were to get that notification before you get the low battery notification, it's most likely going to mean someone took your ski and disconnected the battery or cut the wires. So, you know, probably not going to happen to me because I'm keeping it in the garage, but that's good to know. So let's go ahead and move on. All right, so I have it wired in series, and you can see on our screen here, we're fluctuating, but I'd say it's around 30 milliamps or so. So that's a pretty light load. I'll actually do some math on the computer so we can see just how much that is on this size battery, basically how much duration we can get. But also keep in mind that I just connected this, so it is doing the whole power up sequence, which may or may not take a little bit more power. I'm gonna go ahead and hold it here in a second, and I'll give it like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll see if this changes at all. Okay, it's been about 2-3 minutes, and we're still pulling around 30 milliamps. So let's go ahead and get this disconnected. I'll reconnect it to the battery. We'll head over to the computer, and we'll see how long that would run on a Group 20 size Power Sport battery. All right, so I generally don't like to rely on ChatGPT answers, but in this case, doing the amperage conversion is very, very simple. This just happens to give you a nice display. So the battery that I have in there, the Group 20, is a 19 amp hour, and you can see with a 30 milliamp load or 0.03 amps, that would give us about 26 days of runtime. So just to give you some input on that, 26 days may seem like not a lot, but again, keep in mind, once this is one of those devices where once it senses like standby, it'll kind of go into a deep sleep mode, so it'll use a little bit less. But in real life, if you are using your ski frequently, you know, at least once a month, then you'll have absolutely no problems running it. In my case, of course, I'm in winter mode right now, so I have the skis connected to a charger, so it doesn't really matter for me. But either way, 30 milliamps is a very light load to run. All right, guys, that's it for the SizzApp tracker install. Very, very easy to install this thing. I mean, even with me recording, if you were to just do this yourself, you would have it physically mounted and activated in really less than 5 minutes. You don't even have to take the engine access cover off if you have a ST3 hull ski. If you have a GTI, GTR, RXT-X, anything with the battery in the front, it's an even easier install. And of course, they give you a decent amount of wire lead so that you don't have to mount it directly near the battery. You have about 2-3 feet. I think this was actually 3 feet to play with. So super easy. I know a lot of you guys will be getting skis or just gotten skis, especially around the holidays. So if you're looking for a way to track and monitor your ski when you're not around it, you know, I think this is the way to go. I've tried quite a few trackers in the past. Track 4 was one of the ones I tried the most recently, and that had the longest battery life. But then again, you know, at the same time, you have to pay a monthly subscription, which, you know, if you're like me, I'm tired of subscription everything. I try to get away from it as much as I can. So that's why I picked this guy up here. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. You pick it up for yourself, get it installed, and one more peace of mind.